Hello and welcome to another wonderful class. Today we're going to be taking a look at biology like we always do. So this is the platform that we're using, EducateAfricans.com. I'm going to click on all courses. You all know that student registration is the place to go if you're coming to this platform for the first time. Register and get logged in so that you can be able to view the videos on this platform. So because I've registered before, I'm going to click on all courses, and I hope you guys all know that you just have 2 weeks before your JAMB exams. The date is still sacrosanct. The date of 19th of the month is still sacrosanct for your exams, and I hope that everybody is planning towards that date. Abraham, I hope that everybody is planning towards that day. So I've just clicked on all courses. I'm going to scroll down and fetch biology. Okay. If I scroll down, I'm going to see biology. This is biology by Abraham. That's the one we use. I'm going to click on it. Remember, we have live streaming of our lectures every day from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. is for science class. 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. is for arts class. So always join up. The time is always 6 p.m. We don't fail to join up in the right time. Okay, so once you're here, you can just click on enroll and log in. I'm logging in as an admin because I'm an admin and I've already created a login details. You're supposed to have your login details before you can see the lectures. So make sure you created an account and make sure that you're logged in. Okay, so having enrolled, now I'm going to scroll down. You see all the topics according to your curriculum: introduction to biology, classification of living things, levels of life, the various classification, modes of nutrition, photosynthesis, animal nutrition, transport, circulatory, and so forth and so on. So we looked at ecosystem climates and overcrowding the last time. I want us to look at something interesting. Okay, so let's look at, I don't know whether we've looked at genetics and hereditary in this class. So let's look at the central nervous system. I think that would be a very interesting topic for us to look at today. Let's look at the central nervous system. Interesting. Let's briefly look at it. Consisting of the brain and the rest of them. Okay. Forebrain, hindbrain, spinal cord, and the rest. Okay. So let's look at it. And like I said, we have both video lectures and text-based. Both video lectures and text-based. Okay. So once you're on this our platform, Educate Africans, you can always play the videos and enjoy. Okay, the central nervous system, that's what we're looking at. The central nervous system consists of the spinal cord, which is a long, roughly cylindrical structure, and it's expanded exterior, and the brain. So who is doing that? Clara, put your mic on mute. Put your mic on mute. Oluwaseyi, how are you?
Hi, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, Chika, how are you? Chika, are you there? Are you just hooked up?
I'm here. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, blessing. How are you? Blessing. Okay, Shola, how are you?
Fine, sir. Good evening, sir.
You're welcome. Abasi Freke. Abasi Freke. How are you? I don't know whether I pronounced that name well. Abasi Freke, are you there? Can you hear me? Mide, or Mide. I wouldn't know. Are you there with us? Chama, what's up? What's happening over there? Chama, what's up? Chama, are you there?
Good evening, sir.
Good. Yeah. Clara, I hope you are the person on Techno. Come on. How you doing? Okay, let's continue. The central nervous system consists of the spinal cord. The spinal cord. You all know your spinal cord. And the brain. The brain is inside the skull. Those are the two major components of the central nervous system. So the spinal cord is enclosed in the vertebral column. So there is a vertebral column at the back. Inside the vertebral column, inside like this, you have the spinal cord. And then you have the skull. So the skull is what is enclosing the brain. So look at those two major parts of the central nervous system. The spinal cord, it is protected by the vertebral column, whereas your brain is protected by the what? Skull. So you have two very hard surfaces protecting the delicate members of the central nervous system. So when you're asked, what are the two major components of the central nervous system? Class, you should know that they are the spinal cord and the brain. So you have this vertebral column and the skull, respectively, enclosing those two very important aspects of the central nervous system. It coordinates the activities of the nervous system, receiving impulses of changes in the animal's external environment. So what it does is that it receives impulse and coordinates the activities of the nervous system. Now, Chika, can you tell me what happens when you leave your hand like this? All of a sudden, your sister brings a very hot object close to your hand. What will happen? What will you do to your hand?
It bonds me. So
Chika, your network is poor. I can't hear you very well. Choma, can you tell me what happens? You kept your hand and you're focusing, you're watching a telly, and all of a sudden somebody pinches you with a pin. What will you do? What will happen?
I'll react by removing my hand, shaking it.
You withdraw your hand immediately, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Without even thinking about it. So all those external stimuli, like what's it called, hot objects or pin sharp objects, you receive the impulse immediately, because the nerves are going to transfer the impulse of that pain to your brain. Your brain will interpret it and send back message to that part of your hand and tell it to withdraw immediately. Withdraw. That thing you're touching is not a good thing, or the hotness is not good for you. It's going to burn you. Withdraw your hand. So you withdraw your hand immediately. So that is the function of the central nervous system. It enables you to respond to external stimuli, respond to your environment. Once you feel something hot immediately, you withdraw immediately, because there is these neurons here that will fetch the impulse. They will not take it straight through the spinal cord to the brain. The brain will not interpret what you've touched, and it will tell you, this thing you're touching is very dangerous to your body. Quickly go out. Then you withdraw your skin from there. Are we clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that is the work of the central nervous system. That is the work of the central nervous system. So they help to receive impulses, they pass it across the sensory nerves, the sensory nerves that are close to the external surface of the environment, they are the ones that will notice that impulse. They will take it down to the brain. So the brain will do what? Interpret and send back. Okay. So let's quickly play this video a little bit so that you understand. Today we're going to be looking at the central nervous system. Said that the nervous system is divided into the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is very, very important because that is where the coordination of the various activities are done. I would say that this nervous system, central nervous system, is made up of the brain and the spinal cord. So what really happens when your body gets in contact with a very hot material, or when a part of your body, say your finger, is pricked, there are neurons that are able to take the information of the fact that you're pricked or the fact that your body has touched a hot material to the brain through the nervous system. Those neurons are known as sensory neurons. Those neurons are known as what? Sensory neurons, because they are the neurons that sense that very thing that has happened to your body. Then when those information are gotten to the brain is able to do the interpretation, telling you that this object that you just touched is a very hot object. You should quickly withdraw your hand. So the very neuron through which the brain tells that very part of your body to withdraw is known as the motor neuron. So we have the sensory neuron taking the information and the motor neuron relating back. So that is a very important aspect of the central nervous system. The brain is protected by the skull, whereas the spinal cord is protected by the vertebral column. They need this protection because both of them are very big. When you have accident and your brain is affected, you see that you will not be able to do many things. You might not be able to walk. If your spinal cord has a problem, you might not be able to walk. You might not be able to sense things on your body. So those two parts of the body, they are very, very delicate. And that is why you have the skull, which is a hard material protecting the brain. And you also have the vertebral column, which is another hard material protecting the spinal cord. Now we look at the very important part of the central nervous system, the brain. The brain is simply made up of millions of nerve cells, which you can also call neurons. The surface of the brain is made up of gray matter, which basically consists of cell bodies of nerve cells. Whereas the inner part of the brain consists of white matter that is made up of nerve fibers. Okay, so I don't know whether we were able to get the volume. Choma, was the volume okay?
Not really, it was moderate, sir.
Okay. So what was being said is what I already said, that the central nervous system consists of the spinal cord, which is a long, roughly cylindrical structure, and the brain. And they are enclosed in protections. For the spinal cord, you have the vertebral column enclosing it, and for the brain, you have the skull. And they coordinate the activities of the nervous system by receiving impulse of changes in the animal's internal and external environment. Impulse get the central nervous system from the receptors through the sensory nerves. So the sensory nerves are those nerves that accept these very impulses. But once the central nervous system interprets it, it gets back through the motor nerve. Then we'll talk about the brain. We say that the brain is made up of millions of nerve cells or millions of neurons. And we have in the brain, we have what we call the gray matter and the white matter. So the gray matter is made up of the cell bodies of the nerve cells, whereas the white matter is made up of the axons that is covered with white sheet known as myelin. So that is it about the brain. And the brain is divided into three parts. We have the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. So you can see the diagram of the brain. So you have the cerebrum, you have the corpus callosum, you have the cerebellum, you have the spinal cord, and you have the modulus oblongata. Okay. So those are the parts of the brain. The cerebrum, the cerebellum, the corpus callosum, the ventricle, which is the space in between, the medulla oblongata. So you need to know these various parts of the brain. And all this go into enabling the coordination of the activities of various parts of the body, which is the main function of the nervous system. Okay. So having known this, okay, so let's look at the brain critically. The mammalian brain is enclosed in the bony case known as the skull or cranium for protection. The brain is made up of millions of nerve cells and neurons. The surface of the brain is made up of gray matter, which consists of cell bodies of nerve cells. The inner part consists of white matter that is made up of nerve fibers or axons, which are covered by a white sheet known as myelin. Now, the brain is divided into three parts. We have the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. It is made up of two large hemispheres. The right hemisphere, which controls the left part of the body, and the left hemisphere, which controls the right half of the body. This arises because of the crossover of spinal nerves from the right to the left-hand side of the brain. Okay. The adult brain weighs about 1.2 to 1.4 kg. So that is the normal weight of the adult brain, 1.2 to 1.4 kg. Now let's look at these various parts of the brain critically. The forebrain. The forebrain consists of the cerebrum. The cerebrum, that's what the forebrain consists of, and the olfactory lobes, which grow from it. The olfactory lobes are responsible for interpreting the sense of smell. Sense of smell. The cerebrum in the man is larger than all other than what you have the cerebrum in other animals. The cerebrum is divided into the left and right halves, which are referred to as left and right and left cerebral hemispheres. The two hemispheres are separated by median tissue. They are, however, bound of fibers known as corpus callosum. The cerebrum is thrown into a lot of convolution, which increase its surface area. The convolutions enable the cerebral surface to contain many more nerves. This cerebral surface is also known as cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex consists or contains the gray matter, while the inner part contains the white matter. So you can see that the major part of the brain, which is the forebrain, is actually the cerebrum. The cerebrum is made up of four parts or lobes: the frontal lobe, the parietal lobe, the temporal lobe, and the occipital lobe. The cerebrum is concerned with all voluntary actions. All voluntary actions. So the forebrain, that is made up of the cerebrum and the olfactory lobe, controls all voluntary actions. It is associated with the ability to learn, ability to exhibit intelligence, imagination, reasoning, and judgment. So if they have asked you, which part of the brain is responsible for voluntary action, action that you do on your own, learning, imagination, reasoning, it is the forebrain. So let's look at the midbrain. The midbrain conducts nervous impulses between the forebrain and the hindbrain, and the forebrain and the eyes. It takes part in maintenance of balance of the organism and control the sense of sight. Remember, the olfactory lobe in the forebrain controls taste. So the midbrain controls the sense of sight and maintains balance. It consists of the optic lobe and receives impulses from the eye. So the midbrain is mentally for the sight for eye. This is raining heavily here, so I'm going to be shouting a little bit. Because I'll be thinking that the rain is preventing you guys from getting it. Okay, the hindbrain. Let's go to the hindbrain. This is made up of the cerebellum and medulla oblongata. So this is the hindbrain, the back of the brain. The forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. So the hindbrain is made up of the cerebellum and the medulla oblongata. Now let's look at the cerebellum. The cerebellum consists of three parts. You have the central part and the two lateral cerebral hemispheres. The surface of the cerebellum consists of gray matter, making up the cerebral cortex and central mass of white matter. So similar to what you have for the cerebellum. The cerebellum is concerned with the maintenance of body equilibrium, muscular activity. There's also the unconscious motor conducting center of the brain. It controls all involuntary action. So take note. The forebrain, the cerebellum in the forebrain controls voluntary action, whereas the hindbrain, the back, the cerebellum controls the involuntary action activities, like yawning. If you want to yawn, you don't even know when you yawn. Once you're hungry, be it automatic blinking of your eye. Once something passes, your eye blinks involuntarily. It also maintains firmness of the muscles and controls the posture of the body. So, those are the functions of the cerebellum. Works on the muscles as well. The surface of the medulla consists of white matter, while the inner part is gray. It controls many involuntary movements of body, especially those concerned with respiration, digestion, and heartbeat. You can see that medulla oblongata is also very important as it controls involuntary movements of the body, like in respiration, digestion, and heartbeat. Those things happen on their own. You don't intentionally want to move them, but they happen. They're involuntary. So the medulla oblongata takes care of the working of the systems like the respiration, digestion, and heartbeat. It also regulates the constriction and dilation of the blood vessels. So you can see that the medulla oblongata is so important. Imagine if it's not working properly in your body. You can see there are many things that can go wrong. Your respiration, your digestion, your heartbeat, so many things. So medulla oblongata, very, very important. Now we have the pons varoli. This is a band of nerve fibers that connect the two lateral cerebral hemispheres. So this cerebellum, the two hemispheres are connected by the pons varoli. And let's look at the spinal cord. The spinal cord, like we said before, is protected by the vertebral column. The surface of the spinal cord contains the white matter, while the inner part contains the gray matter. Take note. Spinal cord consists of two halves, which are fused together to form a small canal. This canal is filled with the cerebrospinal fluid, which is similar to the body fluid. So inside the spinal cord, you have the cerebrospinal fluid. In the transverse section, the gray matter of the spinal cord forms the letter H. There are two tissues, the dorsal exterior tissue and the ventral tissue. The ventral tissue is wide, while the dorsal tissue is narrow. It contains 31 pairs of mixed nerves, which arise at regular intervals along the length. What are the functions of this spinal cord. Number one, it carries impulse to the brain. Number one function of the spinal cord is to transport impulse to the brain. And number two, it controls reflex action. So those actions that you do very quickly, reflex actions, are all controlled by the spinal cord. So those are the two major functions of the spinal cord: carrying impulse to the brain and controlling reflex action. Now let's look at the functions of the central nervous system, CNS. What are the functions? It is the seat of reasoning and intelligence. You know, the brain is where you think. So the central nervous system is the seat of reasoning and intelligence. It receives impulse from the sense organ. So when something, the skin is a sense organ. When something very hot touches the skin, it receives that impulse, takes it to the brain. The brain tells you this is a very hot object, please run. So you receive impulse from sense organ. When you smell something, there are neurons that take that to your brain and interpret and tell you this has a very good aroma. This thing smells good, you can eat it. Smell something that is bad, your brain will tell you this is very bad smell. Quickly run away from that place. So the central nervous system take all this impulse from the sense organ, the organ for smell, which is known for hearing, the ear, tasting, the tongue. So the nerves are all connected to them. The central nervous system through the sensory neurons are connected there. So they take all this impulse to the brain so that the brain can interpret and tell you what is it about those impulses. Now it sends impulse to the effectors, which are the muscles and the glands, which respond accordingly. So in order for your body to respond, after the brain must have interpreted what the impulse is, it will now send it to the effectors. Effectors are simply your muscle and your gland. Your glands help secrete the type of hormones that help you respond, whereas your muscle help you to withdraw your hand and do to respond effectively. Now, the central nervous system also it's all voluntary action. So, interpreter, like I said, the brain is able to interpret all these things, and you know the brain is a major part of the central nervous system. Okay, so we are supposed to work on Biology 2010 for this week and submit to me. So I'm quickly gonna get to our YouTube channel now so that I can copy the link to the Biology 2010. So once you're on our YouTube channel, this is our YouTube channel, Tclassified.com. You go to this search on the inside, you can type JAMB 2010 Biology Past Question. Okay. I hope you have it. Okay, so I'm gonna check through it. Once I get it, I'll send it to you. Okay. So if I don't see complete 2010, I'll send you another year that will have complete so that you work on it. But apart from that, I'm gonna give you the assignment to do. Please, with your pen and paper, you can take down what are the two major components of the central nervous system. That's number one. What are the two major components of the central nervous system? Number two, the brain is divided into three parts. State the function of these three parts. The functions of the three parts of the brain. That is the forebrain, the mid and the hindbrain. Then finally, state the functions of the central nervous system. So that is the assignment to do. So please, you quickly write this assignment down on your paper, snap, send to my WhatsApp. now sent to my WhatsApp. So I'll check through and see the assignment, the past question that you do for biology, then I'll forward it to the WhatsApp groups so that you can check it out. Yeah, so nobody wrote more in this, nobody did more. Yes, Oluwase, have you been able to do the registration now?
No, sir, I'll go on Tuesday.
On Tuesday, okay. That's next week, Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. So I think we're good. We are good in biology, and those of you that are writing medical courses, biology is always the easiest. So you're encouraged to do biology immediately you enter the hall. Let biology be the first that you handle. After biology, you can go straight to chemistry or physics, depending on the one that you feel good at. So in approaching JAMB, it's very important that you go to the subject that you have comparative advantage in. So that subject that you're very good at, tackle it first and get maximum scores. All the subjects have 100 marks. So you mustn't do English first. You mustn't do, because your score is eventually your aggregate score. So even if you go to just 3 out of the 4 subjects and smash them 100, you're getting 300. So you mustn't do English, you mustn't do any subject that you do. Though I feel English is also one of the simplest. For me, English would have been my simplest. But when you go to answer English first, don't start from comprehension. Don't take your time on comprehension. Just go to the last and go from down up. Do comprehension last. The comprehension needs time for you to read, understand, and answer. Don't waste your time on that. Quickly go down, answer from behind, and come up. Then once you're up to the comprehension part, if you're not very confident in taking it, quickly go to your biology. Finish all the ones you know. Go to physics, finish. Go to chemistry, finish. Then get back to the comprehension and answer. Don't waste too much time on anything that will take you time. JAMB is time, has time constraints. So you have to be aware of the timing and to help you move. You can time yourself averagely spread over all the subjects so that you don't waste more than the required time on one subject. You have to move very fast. And that's why you need to try out your abilities first using our Educate Africans app. Chika, do you have the app? Chika, are you there?
Yes, I have the app, sir.
Good. So make sure you have the app and you're using the app to practice. You have to practice very well. Time yourself. If you've been practicing without timing yourself all this while, now that the exam is fast approaching, you now have to time yourself. You just have to do that. Time yourself now. You have to start timing yourself. Any further practices that you do from now to exam time, you have to be timing yourself so that you can improve your speed. And like I told you, try this way that I just explained. When you go to English, answer other ones, synonyms, antonyms, vowel sound, all those ones that are very simple. Then go to the next subject, maybe biology, then physics, then chemistry, then get back to the comprehension. Time yourself and do it and see what you can score. I wanted to organize mock for you guys, but the mock software that I have is for people that my students here in my physical office here, because it has to be installed on the server and all the students will be monitored. So I wouldn't know how to do it for students that are not here present. So I'm having a mock for all my students that are here in our physical office by next week so that we can test out our abilities in answering this. But I'll still check and see whether it's possible to host the mock online so that you guys can as well join. Or in case if you're not able to join, the app, the Educate African app that we are selling, make sure you get them, install them, use them, and time yourself. It will also give you the same feel. so that you can have a feel of what you're likely going to score. And you also have a feel of the topics that you've not covered that you need to go to and do something about them. And like we said, the best place to read up is this our Educator Africans. This is our platform. In our platform, we did not waste time on all the things that you don't need. We concentrated on the very important things that you need straight to your curriculum to make sure that you write and pass your exam. Okay, so because of the extension in the time of the JAMB, I now expect that most of us are going to score very high because we already have more time. And as time goes on, we're going to be doing more assignments that will make us to be even better. Okay, thank you. See you when I see you. God bless you.